Hello Internet, and welcome to my very late review for My Hero Academia episode 62. This video was going to be up last night, but then some shenanigans happened, and before I could film the video, it was already 2 a.m., and I was chatting with a friend the whole time. But anyway, when we last left off, Deku and Bakugo had their big explosive fight after Bakugo revealed that he was well aware that Deku's powers came from All Might. And they both got out all their emotional issues, with Bakugo screaming about why he had to be the one who caused All Might's end, which I was really feeling emotional over. And then Deku still lost, but then All Might showed up and stopped the fight anyway, and the two of them were placed on house arrest for a few days while the second semester began. And that's where we leave off. And before we begin my review proper of the episode, I'd like to remind everyone I have my Fall 2018 seasonal anime straw poll in the description down below. So fill that out, let me know what you want to see. Next season is quickly coming up. It's only in a Monday. Monday is when the new season starts. So, yeah, do that. Moving on to the episode proper, we open on a great little piece of world building of showing a really a great example of showing not telling of how Hero Society has changed in the say 2 months or half a month, I forget which. Since I think it was half a month since All Might's retirement, and we're introduced this through a seemingly inconspicuous guy who is just observing everything. And of course, we eventually find out this guy is Twice. The kind of masked, split personality guy from the Forest arc. And I really love the ways that it kind of, foreshadows that this guy is going to turn out to be Twice, without actually, telling us. First there's the, split down his head, so, his head is literally split into two. And then, of course, there's the contradicting language coming out of him, where he'll think one thing and then think the exact opposite. So I initially wasn't sure it was Twice. The only reason I thought it was Twice is because I couldn't imagine there were two split personality people in the show. And so, but as Twice goes about his day, he watches a news broadcast discussing Endeavor. Now that All Might's retired, Endeavor is the #1 hero, and it kind of makes me wonder who exactly decides the hero rankings. It's not, so my initial thought that it would be based in the number of arrests, but we know it isn't, because I'm pretty sure back in season 2, when we were first introduced to Endeavor, he was introduced as the #2 hero, but #1 in arrests. So it's not that. It's certainly not based in popularity, because Endeavor is not popular. There's a lot of the little nitty gritty of how this world works is really lost on me. Like I said way back at the end of the license exam arc, with the idea of not being able to use your quirk without a teacher's express permission doesn't really make sense in a real world standpoint. I don't know how the hero rankings work either. Is there some kind of it can't be that there's some kind of tournament that decides all this. That's completely nonsensical, so I don't know what it is. But as Twice is, wandering through the town, he sees a robbery take place. And he knows that the two big things that have really changed since All Might's passing is that villains are now far more bold than they ever were back in the day, back before All Might retired. Don't know what's going on with the light in this video. It's just really flickering. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. A lot more bold, and they now act in groups. And we see this by, as this big guy is running off with a store counter, a hero tries to stop him, and another villain pops up and either clubs him with a club or with an axe. I wasn't sure, but did they just fucking murder that guy? I heard this chapter was a lot darker than the rest of the surrounding content. But Jesus Christ, they murdered a guy in broad daylight. Wow. I don't even know what to do with that. That just happened. And so as this episode goes on, we really get into Twice's head. And so when Twice first showed up, way back in the Forest arc, I just thought he was some kind of, joke villain to comedic goofball kind of guy. He was fun to laugh at, but wasn't really a serious character in the story, in the world the story is telling, or the story this world, I don't know. He's not really a serious character, he kind of is. And, he's still certainly never going to be, the main character of a story. That's kind of his whole point. But, he's really he's really he's had a rough fucking life. I'm really invested in the story. Just the struggle of, wanting to just kind of lay low. He doesn't really want to get involved, but he knows that he has to with his, split personalities. And he knows the heroes don't care about him because he was a criminal in his past, and so he kind of has to join the League of Villains. I really want Twice to become a more important character going forward. He's really cool. Also, I really love his backstory. He created all these clones, and then the clones decided they were fed up with him, and so they tried to kill him, or maybe they did, and then they all tried to kill each other, and then he ended up being the last survivor, and I don't know, I just found that really cool. Especially as that conflict of, am I the real Twice, or am I just a clone? I don't know, I think that's really interesting. I don't know, I dig it. That's really all to stay for the Twice portion of the story, because after that, we head back to opening day of the second semester of UA. And as our heroes, Sans, Deku, and Bakugo, who are, shut out of class entirely, I figured they would, leave house arrest just to, go to class, But no, they're completely shut out entirely. But on their way to the opening ceremony, they run into fucking Monoma. Now, Monoma, not counting Mineta, Monoma is my least favorite character in this series. Because his shtick got old the first time he showed up. He was relatively intimidating, and I kind of, felt for his whole, the 1A kids think they're better than us thing when he first showed up. But really, ever since the cavalry battle, he's been such a fucking asshole that I hate him. He just lowers the quality of the show by so much when he shows up. Not Mineta levels, but, right, Mineta's here, Monoma's here. So yeah, I just groan whenever he pops up. But Hound Dog's shtick, on the other hand, is hilarious. He just fucking starts growling everything, and you can just barely make out what he's saying. And so Vlad Teacher pops up and is like, here's exactly what Hound Dog was trying to say. That got a laugh out of me. But there's one thing that didn't really work for me about the whole opening ceremony, is that Nezu gives this whole, speech about how hero society has changed in the 2 weeks since All Might fell. And I feel like everything Nezu says was shown infinitely better through the Twice segment. So I feel like it just doesn't really add anything to the episode, It's just kind of there. I get that, it makes sense that Nezu would give this kind of speech. But it just kind of felt like fodder, I guess. But after that, the gang all goes to class. There's a quick discussion of hero work studies, which are kind of a leg up, but optional version of the internships from last season. That from my understanding of the manga is the focus of next season. So that'll be important going forward. But then the gang all heads back to class. Back to the dorm after class. And I really so Deku has this whole, FOMO reaction to missing the day. And I feel like it's just a very human reaction, you miss a day and all of a sudden you're like, everyone is so far ahead of me. And because it's hero studies, it's bumped up to, turned up to 11. And I just feel like it's a really nice human bit for Deku. But I do have a problem, and that is that the school is, for some reason, banned the kids from telling Deku and Bakugo anything. Which is not how you run a school! It's like it could be one thing that they were punishing Deku and Bakugo by taking away their social time, or things that aren't class time, but the school is primary focus should be education. And so telling Deku and Bakugo, tough shit, you don't get to know things, is fucked up, nonsensical, and completely counter antithetical to running a show, running a school. Shush, I'm tired. I got no sleep last night. So yeah, that was just grinding my gears. But anyway, Deku goes to take out the trash. And he runs into this guy who can, like, put his face in walls and floors or something. I don't know. I think his name's, like, Mirio or Minio or something. I don't know. But I saw his character design on, like, Tumblr eons ago, when he first popped up in the manga. I don't know when that was, because I don't read the manga. And there's something I've been meaning to say since then. And that is, what the fuck is up with his eyes? Everyone in this show has eyes like anime characters, which are admittedly way too fucking big. I don't think Deku's eye could fit inside his mouth. But then there's this guy, who just has like a blue dot for an eye. What? That is so not how this show has worked before. Yeah. And after that, Deku comes back to school, and he comes to class, and this weird fucking eye guy, and the other two members of the big three, which I mentioned in my last video when their name was dropped in the preview, that I'm still kind of expecting I'm on the lookout for some kind of Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, and how MHA has to live up to their reputation metaphor with these characters. And so they all show up to talk about the work studies, and that's really rough. So my overall thoughts for the episode is that the first half is infinitely better than the second. It sets up the world in a super interesting way, lets us see things from a kind of anti-heroic but on the side of the villain's perspective, which is really cool. And it makes me care about Twice, who, I never really thought twice about. That pun, by the way, popped up in my notes completely unintentionally and just had to share it. It was perfect. But, like, second episode, the second half, is a serviceable introduction to Season 4. I definitely feel like this season is just not ending in a way that a season tends to end in. Just kind of, like, it feels like Academia doesn't want to be a seasonal show and wants to run itself, with the exception of its season premiere recap episodes, as a kind of long-running show that just happens to take hiatuses all the time. Which I don't quite appreciate. Last season, neither of the previous seasons ended on a big climax. Their penultimate episode was far more climactic than their final one, with the All Might versus Nomu and the Deku and Bakugo versus All Might, were far more, harrowing and intense than, especially the first season, everyone's sitting back and discussing the fight with the League, and what the League meant for Hero Society. And season 2 was a lot more tense, with Shigaraki and Deku's encounter in the mall was a really cool scene. But this season's even more than those. Like, it's just not an ending to a season whatsoever. It just kind of is where the show is stopping right now. And I'm not a big fan of that choice, in all honesty. I feel like it doesn't really... I feel like if a show is going to dedicate itself to this kind of seasonal format, it should try to, treat its seasons like not completely distinct. Every season sets up a new villain and defeats a new villain. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm asking for. But I feel like there should at least be, like, maybe find some way to pad out the hero exam. The hero exam's already fairly padded out. Maybe just end the season last week would have worked better. And then this week, and then next season, open with Twice. That would work opening next season with this episode would actually work a whole lot better, actually. Instead of doing the recap thing that seasons 2 and 3 did, ease us back into the world by showing us Twice. And Twice's whole story as a way to show us how Hero Society has changed since season 3. And then maybe a quick little recap of Deku and Bakugo's fight to ease us back into their exile, their house arrestedness. And then, open us up with introducing the big three and these new characters. I feel like that would work a lot better than, shoehorning it into the end of the season. But ignoring the seasonal aspect of it, this was a really good episode, especially the first half. Second half is still good as setting up the next arc, though it does have to deal with the fact that it will just be gone after next week for another, 6 months, probably, unless they pull a Black Clover and start Season 2 the next week, or start Season 4 the next weup. Who knows? That's where I'm going to leave this video off. Hope you all enjoyed the video and the episode itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, fill out the straw poll in the description, please. I have 4 votes on it, and the season is next week, so please make your voices heard. And besides that, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!